Happy Independence, Nigeria. From license to succeed, your anchor remains Olatunji Shobodu. And what a privilege to come to you with another edition of this broadcast, Licensed to Succeed. Here, our focus is on God's will for success and God's way to accomplish it. God's will for success and God's way to accomplish it. And the way, as we often say, is perhaps more important than the evidence of success itself. Indeed, it is the way that lends credibility to the evidence of success. All right, so you have been so successful, you have achieved your goals or your objectives or your purpose, which is what success really means as far as we are concerned, as far as the Word of God is concerned. Well, we will be asking you, how did you achieve it? All right, before we celebrate you. We don't want to celebrate what appears to be evidence of success only to discover that your approach is contrary to the ways of God. All right. So today, it's our independence. And I couldn't help but reflect continually on the link between independence and success. The link between independence and success. And you'll be shocked at what I want to share with you today. It's a counsel, I believe completely and totally in it, and I think it will do you a lot of good if you would pay attention to it. And so there it is, the danger of independence. So I'm actually saying to you why you need to shun, the quest for independence. All right. Shun independence in order to succeed. Shun independence in order to succeed. Shun independence in order to succeed. And why is that so important? All right. Why is this so important? Okay. I'm going to just read a couple of scriptures for us today in order to make this point. And I believe that, you will get the message and you will factor this into your approach to the pursuit of success. All right. This is part of the formula here that we teach. And when you think about it, you would really come to understand the truth about the quest for independence, especially as it is, all right, to accomplishing whatever it is that we want in life. Okay, so let me start by reading to you from Philippians 4. And I would read verse 9. All right. Philippians 4, and permit me to read verse 9. And here is what it says. It said, those things which you have both learned and received and heard and seen in me, do. And the God of peace shall be with you. Now, this was Paul talking and conveying this, all right, to a group that looked up to him as a leader for guidance, for direction, for support, for help. And he was a man who was successful. He was a man who could declare, I have fought a good fight, I have finished my course, I have kept the faith. And for avoidance of doubt, I know that a crown is waiting for me. That's a man who was clear that his goals, his objectives, his purpose had been achieved, and his reward was waiting. He was, by every account, successful. He was a success in his area. And he was giving them an insight here. He said, those things which you have both learned and received and heard, that is, and seen in me, that's what you should do. Your action should take a cue from all the things you have received from me. The way you run your race should align, should borrow from, should be anchored to the way you saw me run my race. What is that saying to you? Does that look like independence to you of the people that he was speaking to, of the people that he had trained? Does that look like independence to you? Now, this is one of the greatest pitfalls, all right, of this day and age. Everyone wants to do his own thing. Everyone wants to come up with his own ideas. Everyone wants to treat what others have done, people who have gone ahead of them, as though they're no longer relevant, as though they can't benefit from them. Everyone is proving to be smarter than the people who had been there and have done that. And unfortunately, that quest for smartness, supposing that you are smarter than those who have experience, exposure, who have knowledge, who have understanding, rich in them, who have results to show that they have proven the principles, simply amounts to folly, not smartness. The quest for independence, particularly of thought, is marks of pride and is falling into a pit from which you may never recover. And so the whole, race run towards success will amount to nothing. Why? Because you are trying to reinvent the wheel. You are trying to do things by yourself. Independence. You must have heard the statement that what do you have that you have not received? If you have received anything, why do you want to boast about it? That means the truth is that you and I, we are the cumulative of the things that we have heard, learned, seen, received from others, or about others, or in others. Now, if a man, a leader, is warning you or is calling your attention to something like, Paul was doing here, he said, those things which you have both learned and received and heard and seen in me, that's what you should do. Now, that means it is even possible for you to learn from me, to hear things from me, to receive some things from me, and to see the things that I do, and you still don't do them. And that's the irony of the way that today's youth approach the pursuit of success. There is a lot to gain from those who have gone ahead of you. And that does not mean that you can't be innovative, you can't be creative. Innovation is not turning the whole thing upside down. Innovation is improving on what somebody else has done to some extent or to a large extent. But the truth is that the true and real innovation does not discard everything that was done in the past. everything done in the past are actually the fuel that empowers you to be innovative today, because at least you know what no longer would work. You know how things worked in the past. A lot of what we now do, all right, through technology, were being done manually. So many of those things were technology, simply, digitizing the process. It's not as if the processes were not there. What about the principle? Yes, you can bring technology, but technology does not throw the principle away. Technology will never change the fact that in order for you to get oranges, you must plant seeds. You need seeds. All right? Yes, you may not plant the seed in the ground, but you plant the seed in soil, it can be put anywhere. You can put the soil in a bottle, you can put it in a sack, you can put the contents of the soil inside water and put the seed in water. Things will still happen. But notice, essentially, the principle is preserved. The principle is preserved. And that's it. What do you learn from others? What do you learn from others? I am, humbled when I look at the case of Jesus and I hear some of the things that he said. I hear some of the things that he said. He said, look, I can of my own self do nothing. I mean, the Son of God was saying that I can of my own self do nothing. I can't do anything by myself. I think it's John 5, let me read it. John 5 and verse 30. That's what he said. Does it look like somebody who, had independence of thought, who was big on being independent? He made it clear that I'm dependent on someone who is greater than me. He said, I can of my own self do nothing. As I hear, I judge. And my judgment is just, because I seek not my own will, but the will of the Father which has sent me. I can of my own self do nothing. I am anchored to somebody. I am guided by somebody. I am influenced by somebody. And I love it, because the assurance, the guarantee that I need, that I will succeed in the things I do, I secure it from there. I can't do nothing. Of course, is he not the one doing a number of things practically? But he's saying that the things I am doing, just like Paul said, I am learning, are the things I learned from my Father. Said, as far as how to is concerned, I'm not the one. I'm not the source. I'm doing what somebody has established, has proven, and has told me to do, that this is the way to succeed. This is the way to succeed. By myself, I can do nothing. Too many of us are trying to do things by ourselves without reference to others, without looking to people who have done this thing before, or at least, something close to it, and they have succeeded. Too many people are seeking to reinvent the wheel. And unfortunately, as I'll be speaking about, very shortly, those who are even learning are not paying sufficient attention to learn, because the world has become the world of instant stuff. Instant. People want to instant results. Learn 2 + 2 is 4 and just put it to use. And it's all about money, unfortunately. It's all about money, unfortunately. Let me read for you as well, from John 15 and verse 5. And that's something that Jesus said again, making it very clear. All right. And hopefully that should humble some of us. He said, I am the vine and you are the branches. He that abides in me and I in him, the same brings forth much fruit. For without me, you can do nothing. What a statement. For without me, you can do nothing. That means if we want to succeed, there are people we must have in our lives that we depend on, whose counsel, whose teachings we operate by if we must succeed. People that we abide in them. To abide in them is to drink into their knowledge, their understanding, their wisdom, their counsel. Is to draw from what they know, to operate by what they know. That's it. Success, true success, lasting success is impossible or would be excruciatingly difficult, if not frustrating, trying to accomplish it on your own without reference to or regard for someone who has gone that route before. He said, you want to have results, you want to show fruit. Fruit is evidence of results. He said, but if you want to get that result, if you want to succeed, you must abide in someone higher than you, more knowledgeable than you, who has been there and done that than you. You must. You must. And if you like, that person must abide in you. That is, basically, have that understanding. Give attention to the things that that person teaches you. All right. And that way, make sure in your meditation, you retain those things inside you. So you have deep understanding and your acting that guides your action. That way, that person, as it were, is also abiding in you. If you learn from me, all right, and you really imbibe what I have taught you, all right, you would be in me, I also would abide in you. Then because you do the counsel that Paul gave, that the things you have learned, the things you have received, the things you have seen, the things you have heard from me, those are the things you should do. You won't be without evidence of success. This is the way. Remember, God's way. This is the way to succeed. This is the way to succeed. Let me show you what Jesus said also in John chapter 8 and verse 28. And this will strike you. Then said Jesus unto them, when you have lifted up the Son of Man, then shall you know that I am he, and that I do nothing of myself. You see? And that I do nothing of myself, but as my Father hath taught me, I speak these things. But as my Father has taught me, I speak these things. So in order for you to succeed, you must have like a father figure in your life, someone that you're looking up to. It can be anybody. It can be any source. All right. It can be things that people have written, but you know that they have, a reputation. They have a track record. All right. They have proofs. It can be people you listen to. It can be, But you need that frame of reference. You need that anchor. You need it. Otherwise, how do you succeed? I can of my own self do nothing, or I do nothing of myself. Yes, I'm the son of God. Yes, probably having this larger than life, personality. But let me tell you my secret. My secret is that I am not independent. I am dependent, and heavily so, on my Father, on someone else who is capable, who is proven, who is dependable. That's the person I have learned from, all the things that I do. And that's why I succeed. I have been taught by someone. And what I do is according to what I have learned. Many want to be independent, to do their own thing, to figure out things by themselves. That's pride. And pride gets no one nowhere. Humble yourself. There's nothing wrong in learning from others. That's how life is. That's why people have been there before you, have done that before you. Stop. In reality, stop trying to reinvent the wheel. Humble yourself and learn from others. The quest for success is tough. It's a rough road. Why make it more difficult by trying to figure out the directions by yourself? Why not just look on to someone and learn and receive and hear and observe from others? Look at the prescription for success in Joshua 1 and verse 8. That's a model for success. And I'll be speaking, I'll be starting a series shortly, like I said, 9 models of success. But that's one model. It said, this book of the law, that's the reference. It said, it must not depart from your mouth. Say, you will meditate on it night and day, that you may observe to do all that is written in it. Does that suggest that there is independence for you in the way you pursue, any endeavor? No, there is reference. There is somewhere you must be collecting what you are doing from somewhere, from someone. And process it to make sure you understand it. And let the actions you take be in line exactly with what you have learned. Not you trying to do, new things under the guise of wanting to be your own person, under the guise of, because, you want to be innovative. Innovation that refuses to regard the strides and the developments of the past will amount to frustration. Will amount to what? Frustration. And you can spare yourself that. That's the message for today, ladies and gentlemen. Seeking independence is dangerous. If you're serious about success or succeeding in your endeavor and you want to do it God's way, learn from Jesus. He said, I can of my own self do nothing. I do nothing by myself. As I hear, so I judge. As I was taught, so I do. Learn what Paul, the counsel of Paul. Don't do things by yourself that originate only from you. Do things coming from others. What you hear from others, what you see in others, what you learn from others, what you receive from others. 4 things. The totality of them should populate your action. That way, there is assurance that you're on the right path. There is a great chance that you will succeed. All right? If you love yourself, that's the way to go. Once again, happy independence. And Thursday is another day. I'll come to you again, speaking on yet another aspect of what it takes to succeed according to God's expectations for success, or God's definition of success, and God's way to achieve that kind of success. I remain Olatunji Shobodu, your uncle. God bless you. And you'll find a link there. Join us, the License to Succeed community, and have access to more resources. And be among, people of like minds. And let's make success a true and real experience for each one of us. Once again, thank you for joining me today. See you on Thursday. God bless you, and bye-bye.